What would happen if you didn't use us, as an example, is the typical thing that people do. They get their internet connection, say from Spectrum, say from Tel. They bring in a modem, they bring in some Wi-Fi, they got 5 or 6 computers, they run cords all over the floor, just whatever gets you open on day one. And it works. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It works. You get it done. It's over. And you're at work and you're working until you hire 3 or 4 new people or you expand into the next door space. And then you have a bit of a chaotic problem. Do you run more wires over there? Do you cut a hole in the wall? What do? You got to plan for these things. You got to plan for success, really. So if you're not planning for success, what happens is you just make it work, whatever it takes, and then you succeed some more. Then you build another space, you hire more people. Then you realize you don't like the way the office is laid out. You rearrange your furniture, and eventually you end up with some what we would call spaghetti or a rat's nest, and your stuff starts to look like this here, where there's no rhyme or reason to it. Is the blue cord something important? We don't know. There's no way of knowing what any given thing is once you've been at your business for a certain amount of time and you've been building and adding on and moving and changing. The chaos is sort of quietly happening in the background. And eventually what happens is people try to cover this up and forget about it. So they'll take boxes, they'll take sheets, they'll take a shoji screen or something, they'll cover this whole thing up, pay it no mind, until one day it doesn't work right. And then somebody's going to have to sort it out. There'll be an IT guy if you got to a certain size. There'll be a consultant comes in. Maybe somebody like us will come in. We'll charge you a lot of money to straighten that out. So you don't want to start that way with no plan and just let it get out of control. So what we like to do is kind of figure out what you're about, how big you think you're going to get. We leave you room to grow, and you don't have to hire us back as you grow until you hit a certain critical mass, and then you could grow one more time where we expand your system with your assistance. But otherwise, you just grow on your own naturally. We kind of just put the tools in place so that you can do that yourself. It doesn't take computer knowledge. You don't need to know what a specific cord goes to. We'll just teach you our system, which is very easy. Anybody can do it. And then you'll be in a huge advantage versus your competitor. When it's time to grow, you put a new person at a desk, their desk is lit up, their phone is going, their computer is going, the Wi-Fi reaches their space. You don't have to think about it. It's much, much easier. You don't want to involve the computer guy too many times throughout the work month, the work year. Computer guys are expensive. If you have to keep bringing one in to sort out a mess of cables and only he understands it, the costs add up. If you pay a little bit up front to develop a system, then you can grow it naturally, easily, simply, and anyone can maintain it. And that's when you're a small business, you're running your own thing by yourself, you need that. You're doing everything already. You don't need it complex. You don't need it to be weird or proprietary. You just need it to be understandable, manageable. And that's where a system like this one comes in. Everything is labeled. Everything has a meaning. It follows a pattern. You can't screw it up. Everything is organized. The mess is hidden. You can get into this if you need to mess with it, and then you can cover your mess back up. That way, when you're looking at it, somebody visits your office, you're proud to show that off. You want to show off. Look how great we did. We did a good job. You have all this room to grow. If you didn't need all that space, you've got that space later. And so when later comes, you add one cord and you plug it in and you just follow the same pattern that we teach you. It's easy. There's only when you finally get really big do we then expand it and we start using this empty space. So that's the main thing that people come to us for. The other thing that people come to us for is because the way that we deploy this, because it's systematic, if you go to any of my jobs, any of my offices that I've ever built for anybody, they all look exactly the same. They've all got the same numbering scheme. They've all got the same cable coloring scheme. Everything matches. The switch brands even match. So if you're at another site and you plugged into number 1, well, you'll plug into number 1 again when you get to your next branch. So if you're running a restaurant, you got 5 sites, that's great news. All of them will look exactly like this. So when one of those sites complains, the manager can't get on the Wi-Fi, can't get on the internet, you know exactly where you're going with our system. With something like this where you just slapped it together, that's gonna be a rough day where you're not making sales. So the thing that I tell customers, hey, why you wanna come with us, is because if you really stop and think about it for just a moment, This runs your business. Your business is always connected to the internet, all your credit card sales, all your internet, your customer relationship management software, Pipedrive, whatever you're into, that's all on the internet. And you're gonna like kind of risk it by not knowing what the heck you've really built over time. Why not have it systematic? You know exactly where it is, you know what to reset, you know which one's the Wi-Fi, you know which one's the router, you know which one is your internet connection. And if we plan way ahead, if you tell us like we can't be down, we'll give you 2 internet connections and we'll teach you how to switch between them. Could you figure that out on your own? Maybe, but it wouldn't be easy. And in the heat of an actual outage, when there's a line of customers and the people are angry, even your own employees are kind of angry, you don't want to be messing with that, chasing the cords you can't identify. So that's really why you want us, is we put something in place that will last as well as scale, and it's simple for anybody to maintain.